Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Love a Natural Me here on Cheryl's World. We are broadcasting from Blog Talk Radio, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. We are on the air every single Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Every day of the week here on Cheryl's World, you can tune in and enjoy a different host. For instance, on Tuesday, we have Deborah Long, who is an aromatherapist, and she has a show called Something Natural. Then on Wednesdays, yours truly, Love a Natural Me, and that's with Yvette Brooks. And I usually have on there a friend or two or three or four, and we, dialogue about different things. On Thursday is Young Generation Talk with Daria Tolbert. On Friday is At the Movies with Jamil. And then Saturday is a rebroadcast, which takes place at noon Central Standard Time. And then on Sunday is Cheryl Smith herself of Cheryl's World in the morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Today we will be speaking with LaOta Rassoull. She has been someone who has been a very influential on many levels person in my life for a very long time, mine and my family's life for a very long time. And I wanted to bring her here today because, as you may remember, a couple of weeks ago we had Sam on the line, and she was updating us on the things that she was doing and how excited she was about, some new ventures in her life. And there was a couple of questions from some people that were listening when she mentioned the word or the term Ho-oponopono. And so it prompted me to say, you know what? It would be wonderful to have the very first person I had ever heard even say Ho-oponopono, which is a word that I stumbled with pronouncing, for a very long time. So I said this is the time to go ahead and have her come and speak with us about what it is and what it can do for you, me, and everybody worldwide. I mean, globally, no exaggeration. So, LaOta, are you on the line?
I am, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm so excited. The name of your show is just the most perfect place to be invited to.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Now, I do want to share again, I know I mentioned it earlier, that the form that we're using today is pretty kind of like an open panel. So I will do my best to prompt throughout the show. Is there anyone that has anything you want to say? But if you are moved by something that LaOta shares, do your best to find the smoothest way to say, LaOta, or excuse me, and kind of dance your way into the conversation, because this is something that we're doing that's kind of like a free flow. So I don't know where you would want to begin. However, first, I'll say this. Can you first share with us what is Ho-oponopono and who you are as it pertains to sharing Ho-oponopono with us?
Absolutely. I'm not only thrilled to be here, but I'm so happy to be able to discuss something that I have learned and found to be something that should be revered and appreciated. So I'm so happy to have a platform to speak on. I am LaOta Rassoull, and I am a Ho-oponopono practitioner, among other things. And I have been for many years, and I have had wonderful experiences with it. And what it is this is a system, a very simple, easy system to use, that will allow you to release unhappiness on so many levels. And Yvette, you were quite correct that it's actually even global. The history behind this is so interesting and very little known, because this comes forward to us from women. The book that was written, called Zero Limits by Dr. Hulan Hihakalea, is what is most known, but there's so much more to tell. There's so much more to the story. The shaman who brought this ancient practice into this modern arena that it's in now that people are so blessed to experience was a kahuna, which is a Hawaiian name of a shaman, and her name was Morna Simeona. And this woman, who was eventually cited to be by the state of Hawaii a national treasure, is the one who brought this practice forward in its current form, and also traveled all over the world teaching this, especially in the Eastern Bloc and in Poland and in the Czech states, all over Eastern Europe during the time before the wall fell down in East Germany, between East and West Germany. And she was actually quite instrumental in cleaning through this process to make that happen. And it's quite an exciting story. But more importantly is that she cleaned all over the world, including America, with the Lady of Freedom, who's on our Capitol building in Washington, D.C. She cleaned the Black Madonna, all of the women who hold the freedom and the peace for the world's nations. She cleaned she cleaned them as we clean ourselves to make things happen on the planet. So it's an extraordinary story, and I don't know how much of it you want to get into, but the basis of this is that it's an idea of the way the universe works is that we have, because of our circumstance, the circumstance we find ourselves in, we do not remember from one lifetime to the next what we have done. And this is very apparent because our governments rise and fall, and the same mistakes are made even in the erroneous history that's written. The same mistakes appear and again, and people do the same things because we don't remember. But our superconscious or our subconscious, all the parts of us that are greater than us now, do remember. And those portions of us guide how we learn our lessons and how we live in the universe. And so these kinds of, the kind of information that is the accumulation of who we actually are, which is many lifetimes, when we come into our lifetime and we see a situation, a drama, or something that compromises us or something that makes us unhappy, sometimes it's not showing itself because of something that's happening now, but it's a mirror of what may have happened in previous experiences. So whatever we see in front of us, if we accept responsibility for it, even though we don't remember, then it allows us to clean it away. And when we clean in this altruistic way, when we clean with thank you, I love you, please forgive me, I'm sorry, these frequencies reach a level, a height, a vibrational experience that wipes away whatever the debris from the past life that projected in front of us the experience we're seeing. I hope I haven't been too convoluted there. You may want to ask the question, but the idea is that everything we see in front of us is every experience we have, every drama, every wonderful thing has something to do with what has happened, what we have done in our previous experiences, and it's mirroring to us what needs to be cleaned. So if we take responsibility for it by saying the phrases, then we have the opportunity to clean away these things.
And now when you say cleaning, like when you mentioned the images or the statue, when you say clean, those ideas were cleaned or cleansed, are you saying that that happened from saying those 9 words, or is there more to it? How does that actually happen?
Well, the first principle and I'm so glad you asked this is so important to understand, the principle is that everything is God. So all of everything is God. So the thought forms, everything presents itself in the thought form. So even, for instance, the Black Madonna or the Lady of Freedom in America or the Black Madonna in Europe, these are thought forms. And the thought forms get dirtied up, so to say, when their previous history has not resolved situations. And the same thing happens to us on a personal level. In fact, the same thing happens when you walk into a room. If you walk into a room, and all of us have had this experience, you walk into a room and you can feel whether it's warm and cheerful or whether there's been a fight in there. So there's a consciousness that's alive in the room separate from you, that when you enter the room, you can experience it. If I enter a room to do a lecture or to teach a class, I clean the room. So I sit for a moment and I say, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, because I take responsibility for I'm the one in the room, I'm the one who can experience it, so I'm going to be the one who cleans it. So if I sit in a chair and it feels like someone unhappy, often, you'll sit in a chair and you'll feel like somebody sad sat in this chair, or you'll sit in a grandparent's chair and you'll feel their experience. So that consciousness is what I'm speaking of when I say cleaning, is that the thought forms that build the consciousness that exist in our car, in our rooms, everywhere, in our chairs, in our country, in other countries, these are the thought forms that can be cleaned away through our intention to clean them by using these phrases. The phrases are only important in that the unified these phrases with the intention to take full responsibility, because it's altruistic, because it's not selfish. It's not like you're saying a prayer and you're saying, all right, God, if you just let me have this job, I'll do, I'm going to do good for the poor. It's not like that. It's saying that I have entered a place and I'm aware that everything has consciousness, and I will take responsibility for making sure I bring peace and happiness to the consciousness that is here, whether that's your child, whether it's your room, whether it's your car, whether it's your parents, whether it's your husband. And when you take that responsibility and begin to move that energy away, these patterns away that have happened, that are previous patterns that have happened before, and then you get to see what surfaces is what the divinity and what nature has for us. It's the happiness and the pleasure that can happen when there's no overlay of sadness. Does that make sense?
And yes, it does. And the questions I'm asking because there may be that are listening now and maybe listening later that may have these questions. One of the ones I will ask, and I actually got it answered for me, in actual, in living in life recently. Will you share? How immediate or non-immediate can this actually be?
Oh, this is just incredible, and this is why I love it so much. And I do a lot of work with people in their spiritual development, and this is one of the most powerful tools I have in the arsenal of how to affect people's lives quickly. It happens immediately, and it happens with the same degree of time and intensity that you apply to it. So what that means is that you can find yourself in a crisis, and you can, in fact, I've even had people call me who were being thrown out of their apartments or having some kind of unique crisis, and I've said to them, all right, begin the Ho-oponopono right now and do it for such and such a length of time, maybe an hour and a half from now on, every day, until your circumstance changes. And in 72 hours, the circumstance will change. In 48 hours sometimes, depending on the intensity of the person. Because I often see people in crisis, they are usually highly motivated. So when a person is highly motivated, they will use that energy to really take responsibility. They'll begin for the first time maybe seeing who they really are, because part of this is that you can't take responsibility if you don't know who you are. So once you learn this process, as you do it, you begin to sense who you are, and that allows you to see what's really going on. And that happens in the process. That's not something that happens when you first hear about it, or this happens in the process of doing it. Things become revealed to you as the weight of the negative that you're experiencing in that moment lifts. You begin to understand certain principles about who you are and your responsibility to us all that this is a holographic experience we're all having, where you're not alone. And not the greatest thing about this is that not only does the person who's saying it benefit, but everyone around them benefits. The room benefits, their car benefits. Everything becomes lighter and easier and better and more natural and more in harmony with creation. And I would love to hear your story because I have heard it and it's spectacular.
Yes, I now, like I said earlier, I have heard you had mentioned this to me, quite some time ago, and it's something that I've recommended to others or sent others your way for. But for me specifically, it wasn't anything that I actually, you know, did in consistency. But I have something about myself I am working on right now, and it's going wonderful, and that is not reaching for things that I know work when I need it, like in dire straits. You know, um, knowing that these things work, and then kind of like thinking of them more so for other people, but just going about my day, going about my day. Okay, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I need to really work on being consistent, because when I'm consistent with this, it really yields results. And I would have to say, just recently, I had a similar situation as the one you used example, where I needed a pretty big dollar amount of money in a very short period of time, and or else, and I started all of a sudden, and I think the what kind of assisted with this, and this may need to be for another show, was my DNA activation. I I've always been very resourceful and think of things pretty quickly. We can do this, but since my DNA has been activated, that happens quite fast. So when I was told, the very moment that I was told, this is what needs to happen, or else, that same second, as soon as got off the phone, I thought, I need to be spending more time doing Ho-oponopono. How can I be giving advice to people, telling people to contact this person and that person, but for myself, I'm keep my head above the water. So just and I'll say, like you said, 72 hours of focusing on this for, when I rise, throughout my day and before I go to bed, I had what I needed to have by actually, I had quite some time. I asked for like a mattress or a leeway before the time I was supposed to have it. Now, some people that are listening may be thinking, that may not have had anything to do with Ho'oponopono or consistency. However, I know from the way that I felt and the way that it was actually guiding me through my day, to where I was not worried. Like, I was really worried beforehand as far as what in the world am I going to do. I was not saying it and then also having worry, if you understand what I'm saying. I was able to no longer focus on what am I going to do, and I was able to still live and be happy. And it was
Right.
kind of like things were just falling right in place. So much so, I told myself, when I got what I needed to get, I told myself, I need to keep this going. This has got to keep going, because it's not just the money that I needed, to reach that deadline, but it's success. Period. Success for my family, success for me as an individual with personal goals, all of that. So a few days after that, this is the second thing that really confirmed it to me. I was uh, working. I work from home, so that means that I can pretty much work from anywhere as long as I have internet connection. And I in this in the quad area of a college here in Dallas, and I had there several hours, just accomplishing all these different things on my to do list. And I shared with my husband earlier, meet me there at 5:30, and I because I want to do it kind of like a work day, and then come home and be done, not have to to be concerned with anything left on that list. So he comes up, walking up at 5, and when I see him, every time I see him, I'm just kind of like, oh, I still see light and hear birds chirp when I see him. No matter, I do, and I seen him walking up from a distance, so I was like, oh, he's here, he's early. So when he gets close, I said, oh, you're early, babe, and he said, what do you mean I'm early? I said, I said 5:30. You're here early. No, you didn't say 5:30. You said 5. I'm here on time. Do you want me to go home, come back? You know what? He was like aggravated, and I said, "Oh, okay, it's really no problem. I can go ahead and stop now." But I don't know why I would have told you 5. I remember saying I wanted to be home by 6, so I would have wanted to stop at 5:30. But it's really okay. It is really okay. I know it's okay. I know it's okay. This is what he's saying to me. So I'm, packing up my things, and I'm thinking to myself, I've got two thoughts going on. I'm thinking to myself, okay, why is he so irritated? I'm about to really, let him have it. Then I have another thought that's saying to me, ooh, okay, perfect opportunity. I'm about to work on me. I'm about to work on him. I'm about to work on everybody in this squad. And all of a sudden, I see him leave. He walks off. I don't know where he went. He walks off. I just continue to pack my things up, and I'm starting to say, I love you. Please forgive me. And I'm saying it. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. And I'm breathing, taking deep breaths because it did kind of throw me for a loop. So when I walk around the corner, start heading towards the parking lot, I still don't see him. I don't see him anywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, uh, just saying it over and over again. And all of a sudden I hear someone say, hey, Yvette. And I turn around, I look, and I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody anywhere. And so I keep walking, and I hear someone say again, hey, Yvette. I turn around. My husband is in the bushes because I can see, his hand out. And I start walking towards the bushes, and I said, what are you doing? And he starts laughing, and he said, I wanted to see if you would, be able to follow, where I was calling you from, but it didn't work out. He was like, how was your day? He was completely different. Yes. How was your day? Do you want to go straight home? Just like, I'm telling you, it was like night and day. I don't know what happened to him on the way to the college. It's like 3-digit weather here in Dallas, Texas. So I don't know. Was he hot? I don't know. I didn't even care. But he was completely different. Now, again, people listening may be thinking like that. Maybe he saw the light. Maybe he thought about it. I'm being what. But the fact of the matter is, it changed immediately. And
every time, it works every time. It works with children. It works with grandparents. It works with husbands. It works every time.
That was going to be.
It works with animals.
That was good, and I've been reading too that it also works on your on your appliances, your car, things that anything that could possibly give you an irritation.
Everything has consciousness. So I have often been on radio shows, and something will go wrong, and then I will take a moment, I'll say it, and everything will be fine. Like the lines will be blinking, people can't get through, and then I'll do that, and that's it. Everything's fine.
Well, let me ask you this, and feel free, anyone that's listening, if you have experienced this is something that you use as well. Feel free to share your experience, and if you have a question, feel free to just dance right in. I had the thought, do I know what I'm doing? Am I just, concentrating, being consistent in saying this? And I was wondering, what I do is I focus. I'm picturing what it is I would like to happen while I'm saying it. Is that pretty much what one should do, or does it vary between people?
Well, it's interesting that you brought that up because it is in this topic, but it's also in other topics that people are interested in, and the idea of manifestation and things like that. The universe communicates with us through pictures. So when we're trying to manifest anything, it's best, and we have pictures whether we realize it or not, even though television and movies have very much diminished our ability to have visuals. We still have them. We still, when you think about your baby, you still in the back of your mind see their faces. So, yes, it's important to visualize anything whenever you want to do anything, because it's a way of communicating what's going to happen before it happens. And it helps all the forces of the universe gather together exactly what you've projected through your mind's eye. However, the most extraordinary thing about this is that you don't have to direct this to anyone. You don't have to direct it to divinity. You don't have to direct it to your husband. You don't have to direct it, because everything that we experience is an inside job. Everything that happens to us is an inside job. That means that anything we see, it's inside of us. It's really inside of us. So if we change our frequency through our thought forms changing, if we have not our whole lives been saying these things, and then we start saying them, we're changing our thought forms. We're changing our frequency, and when we change our frequency to something higher, it lifts the weight or the burden of the negative off of us. And it looks to us like it's other people. But it's you were just as cleansed as your husband was. And then he benefited also. So you don't, it's really no right or wrong to it. It's the idea that this particular combination of frequencies is very important, but the most important thing is that as you do it, and you do it, I always recommend that people start with an hour a day, because it doesn't really work if you've never done it consistently if you only do it at night before you go to bed like a prayer, because it's something it's more powerful than that, but you do have to put the time in to do it. So if you want to see amazing differences, I used to do it for 3 hours a day for several years, and I would consider having a life without this in it, because eventually it becomes your background voice. Eventually you wake up in the morning and you can hear your mind saying, "Thank you, I love you, please," and everything is just fine, and it stays just fine. All the people around you who are, all the neighbors that are a problem, there's a wonderful Danish saying, and it says, "The problem with my neighbors between me and God." So, which really, and it's very much the truth. The truth of the matter is the problem with anyone is something, a memory that you have projected that's coming through another person, where they are serving you by showing you what you need to clean today. It's an opportunity, exactly the way you said it. And those who've had DNA reconnection, it's incredibly potent for them especially. And so you have the benefit of having had your DNA done. So it's even more powerful because you've already been reconnected. So it benefits everyone, and it's magnificent for everyone. But those who have DNA, I do think there is a little bit of an edge, because you've already been through a cleaning and sweeping process, because you're working on yourself.
Excuse me?
So the more work you do, the better it works.
Yes, ma'am. I hear someone.
Excuse me?
Is that you, sir? Yes, go ahead.
Can I chime in?
Oh, yes, chime.
Okay, hi, this is Vonda Guzman from Germany, and I am just listening and enjoying everything that you're saying. I am certainly in agreement with. I've got the DNA activation, and then, let me take this off the speaker, I got the DNA activation, and then after the DNA activation, I was introduced to Ho-oponopono. And I'm trying to get the word correct, too, Yvette. And so it is a word to learn. And but I have been using it, and I'm using it about 3 hours a day. And when I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing that's on my mind. And I lay down maybe 10 or 15 minutes and do that. And then as I go in, as I'm getting washing up or whatever I'm doing. So I'm doing it about an hour in the morning, and then maybe an hour and a half, and then I'm doing it in the afternoon and doing it in the evenings, and I just feel really good, and everything around me just really feels good, and I'm even when things come up, like a couple of things have come up, and I've done the Ho-oponopono, and I just feel really good. I just feel like there's nobody's to blame. You know, I'm taking responsibility for this myself, and I do it and do it and do it, and and there's no ill feelings or no angst, anything. I'm more at peace, more calm, and even from the DNA activation, which, like you said, is another subject, but I'm doing more things that basically I was really having a problem with doing, wasn't very disciplined in doing, and I'm doing a lot of things that I basically was never even thinking about doing before, more concentrated and everything. But with the Ho-oponopono, I am feeling just this calmness and peace, and if something comes around that seems like it wants to stir up, I'm doing the Ho-oponopono, and it all eases itself right on out. So I'm in agreement with you both, and I would hope that people would try it. Patsy Cannon, a girlfriend of mine, she has this healing for the cities or something like that she started for Baltimore, Maryland, because of all of the killings and stuff. And they had a little thing on the other night, and I was listening to it today, and she said, and just say the Ho-oponopono prayer, and they did it a couple of times. While they was doing this little talk on the session that night, I'm wanting to call her and talk with her and ask her how much does she know about it, because I don't know if she realizes that this is something that we have to spend time with. They want to clean up the cities of Baltimore, and a good way to do it is to accept our responsibility and to do the Ho-oponopono. But I don't know how much of it she knows, and I'm really curious to give her a call to find out and to get her involved in the DNA. So thank you for just having this platform tonight for people to get involved in the Ho-oponopono, because I know that it will change the whole energy of what's going on in the universe, and especially in America with the killings and all this kind of stuff that's going on, that we all have to take responsibility for it. So thank you very much, LaOta, for sharing, and thank you, Eva, for having her on and having such a beautiful platform tonight. God bless you both.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Vonda. Before you go, Vonda, would you talk about what you do for a living and how it has what I understand from you, that this has given you a refinement and an enhancement in your profession that you've had all your life. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm a singer, songwriter, performer, and I have a radio show called Life is So Beautiful that comes on every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on Blog Talk. And I am just feeling, I was telling you, I was singing last Saturday at a birthday party out of town, and I'm always singing, and I'm always full of energy and everything, and people always love it. But I mean, this last couple of times it's just been, since I got the DNA and doing my Ho-oponopono, everybody's just coming. I got a 200-euro tip last Saturday, and everybody just coming and hugging me, and and one man said, "I love you," and but you're going, you're leaving. He said, "Well, it doesn't matter, because we'll just send for you and bring you back over," and things like that. And these are people that I have sung to before and before and before, but it was a whole different energy, and like I said, I just attribute it to my DNA activation and my willingness to take on the Ho-oponopono. I met a girl, quickly I'll tell you, in Frankfurt. I was in a place getting my feet done. She came in to get some cream, and then she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Oh, America." She said, "I know that, but where?" And I said, "Oh, Baltimore, Maryland." She said, "Oh, I'm from North Carolina. I'm a lawyer here." And then she said, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to but I'm a ways from here." And she said, "Oh, if I wasn't so tired, I would take you all the way." But I said, "But just take me to the train station." So I'm going out the door with her. I think she's driving. Girlfriend is in a taxi. She's in a taxi. And she takes me to the Baumhof, she said, "You got time? You can sit down and have a drink?" So we sat down and had a drink and all. And she'll be 30 on August the 9th. And she's working for a big law firm here in Frankfurt, Germany. And I'm just looking at how this sister just reached and grabbed me and wouldn't let me go, And that's how it's been, just because of the cleansing, because of the DNA activation, and because of the cleansing, the Ho-oponopono, that I'm accepting responsibility. and for my life and the life of others. And I'm just meeting people and really singing more. Even, and I say, I didn't know it could get any better. I mean, because I am a seasoned artist. I've been here 19 years. That's why I've been here, to be seasoned. And I am seasoned, but it's even better. And the people are just looking like, wow, where do you come from? How can you sing like that? And I'm like, yeah, that's a question I'm asking myself, you know. But, yeah, this really works. So everybody get on board. I'm like a sponge. Anything that's good for me, I like to, suck it in. And I'm glad to have met LaOta and get this.
You there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Vonda, can you, if there's anything else you wanted to share, just go ahead and jump right in. I'm getting a memo from Sam. She's on the line. She wanted to share as well. Sam, are you there?
I'm done. Yeah, I'm here, but I'm done. Thank you both. Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am. Are you going to stay? Are you going to stay, Vonda?
Am I going to what?
Are you going to stay on the line? Are you going to stay with us?
Oh, yes, I'm on the line. Just go.
Oh, okay. Great. Great.
Thank you, babe.
Okay, Sam, are you there?
Yes, I am. I was just listening to her wonderful story. I'm relating and I understand. It just feels good to just listen to people talk about their experience with the Ho-oponopono. Yes, her story is so beautiful. What I've experienced with the Ho-oponopono, I've had my DNA activated as well, and I've learned so much. I've grown so much, and I know LaOta, and you can probably attest to that. I've grown. Oh my gosh, leaps and bounds. I feel so good. I mean, like at such peace. And like this morning, I was meditating on the Ho-oponopono, and yesterday, like I had like an experience, and I can tell you, I've grown so much that I've recently had something that came up, and I didn't get like I used to in the past, and I just did my Ho-oponopono. I took a salt bath, and I just sat there, and I just kept putting love on the situation, and it just, Ho-oponopono just, it transmutes everything into love, and it resolves whatever it is. And when I first started doing it, I kept saying, I would make a list and say, I do the dewdrop and put whatever I want to think about in those, on that list. And I would put, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, like all around it. And I have and then I stopped putting things inside of the cards. And now I just make blank cards, index cards, and it just says thank you. And on all four sides of it, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I stick them in my pocket, and then I'll reach in my pocket to find something oh yeah, I'm cleaning. And I do the Ho-opono actually in my sleep, in my dreams. If there's something in my dreams, I actually say thank you, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. And yesterday I watched a video, and I went to bed saying mahalo. I learned that mahalo is an expression of gratitude, and aloha is love, and I just went to bed just with a smile on my face saying mahalo, aloha, mahalo. This morning I had a question because I've had some things that come up, and I have looked at them honestly as ways to clean, and I said, oh, well, thank you. That caused a twinge in my heart. Thank you for showing me that. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And I was like, okay. This morning I was like, okay, why is it that people want you to, to be understanding and loving and all kind of things and show kindness? I said, but they don't always want to extend the same hand. And then it just came to me, like I have been getting inspiration like nobody's business, where it just came to me. It's like the world is just as it should be. No, it said the world is just as it's supposed to be because it reminds you of who you're to be. I was like, yeah, I'm to be cleaning all day, so thank you.
All day is right.
But the wonderful thing about this, Sam, is that these frequencies, when you walk around with these frequencies, it's almost like you're a light bulb. It's almost like someone struck a match and you're the match, and you're lighting the way for everyone in your house, everyone in your neighborhood. It's really a very powerful. It doesn't sound like it for those who have not done it, but it's extremely powerful because you can face any encounter. You could face any encounter and do this, and you can materially change the outcome.
Yes,
that's right.
It just manifests itself, and I was like, everything is being transmuted. That's my new thing, transmuted right before my eyes, and like I'll have a situation, and I'll just. And I'll go, I'm not going to argue with you. And I every time I think about things, I'll hear LaOta say, she's like, when you do the Ho-oponopono, Sam, and you don't take things and make them your own, she's like, you just take responsibility of the situation. And she's like, it's just a person that's irate in front of you. Remember, you're wonderful. And I'm like, I am wonderful. And I'll go, and I love you. And they're like, when did you become this guru type? I was like, this is me, and I'm on a journey, and so are you. And I said, we're divinely connected, and I'm cleaning on it. And they're like, what? I was like, I'm cleaning on it. And I said, I'm putting love on it. That's my new thing. I'm putting love on it. And so I won't. And I did something I have never really done before in my life. You know, someone said something to me in LaOta and Yvette. And there's, I think your name's Vanetta. Everybody on the line, I said, I don't accept that, and I do not put that in my pocket. and I was like, I said, that is your view, and I'm cleaning on it. And I said, and I'm going to do some deep meditation because I create my own universe. And for whatever reason, you brought that to my attention, and I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to delete that memory. I said, I'm going to delete that program. Because for whatever reason it came up, it was a pop-up ad, and I'm going to delete it. And the person who actually was, did that, they posted on Facebook, and then they deleted their account. I kid you not, and this is my right hand of God. On Wednesday, they said they were going to do some deep inspection, and go on a journey within, and start doing community help and helping others. And they were going to get off of Facebook and put their life together. What you said. Ho-oponopono, it actually, I tell people, it seems so simple, but oh my gosh, it does some wonderful and some magnificent things, and you don't even have to. And I was telling a friend of mine that I just met, I think she came my way because of Ho-oponopono. I think she did. And I told her about the Ho-oponopono, and she was like, she said she had a situation. She's like, girl, she was like, it just absolved itself. And she was like, the lady came and apologized to me, and she was like, and we parted ways just wonderfully. I said, that is Ho-oponopono. I said, that's how it works. Right. That's how it works. I was like, and then I said, if I need, and she said, I don't know if life can get any better. She was like, because she's like, I have been meditating day and night doing a Ho-oponopono, and she was like, it's like the heavens opened up. She said, can I even ask God for any more? I said, it's just like I was listening to India Arie. She said, the universe rises up to you. And I said, hey, I got one better. I said, the universe rises up to you. It's always saying yes, but what's in your subconscious mind that it's saying yes to? What are you thinking? I said, but don't even worry about what you're thinking. Just put some love on it, Ho-oponopono. I was like, I love this thing.
It's very powerful. It's very powerful, and people mistake it for nothing. Many people, either they think it's, that's a nice idea, that's cute, or they think, that's just something for wimpy people. I love you, But in fact, This is a very, very powerful tool to use in your arsenal against negative in your own experience and in the experience of others around you. And it doesn't really matter who you direct it to. And there is, this is something that can happen just because you change, because we are all making our own individual universes. So what we're seeing in our universes has to do with our particular lesson. It's an inside job. Who's always there when your mother yelled at you? You and your mother. Who's always there when your husband gets mad at you? You and your husband. So now you're getting the drift of this. It's an inside job.
Right.
So you clean the inside and the outside cleans up. And that's
now,
where
LaOta,
responsibility comes in. Yes.
LaOta, I would like you to speak on there is something that comes up, in most circles when the phrases are brought up, like when it's asked, oh, okay, cool, what is it? What do you say? Then when the person hears, please forgive me and I'm sorry, those two phrases I notice cause the most, can I change it up? Or
yes.
Can I just say this? Will you break down what people need to understand about those two phrases and why they're shooting themselves in the foot to feel like they shouldn't say those two phrases?
Well, there's quite a bit to that. I'm not sure how much time we have left, but I will share with you, and you can stop me if I'm running long, that
okay.
This is something that I constantly introduce people to this, and I have been doing this for many years. And they'll come back to me after they've tried it, and they'll say, well, I want to change it a little. Can I just say I love you? Or, but I don't want to say I'm sorry because, you got to be careful what you say I'm sorry to. And so I usually say something like, have you never done anything that you're sorry for? Did you ever step on someone's toe or close the door before they got through? Or aren't you sorry for anything in your life? And they'll say, yeah, but, I don't want to be sorry, like a sorry person. And I said, have you ever looked up the word sorry in the dictionary? There are many definitions for sorry. Sometimes it's because you have true regret that you've done something. Maybe you hurt someone's feeling and you have real regret. Or you would have liked to have shared something with your mother and didn't get an opportunity, so you regret that you didn't have an opportunity. It doesn't mean that you're a person who will always be considered a sorry example. That's not the same thing. So often people misunderstand the language because the English language has much duality, and the English language has many meanings that mean the same thing. And this is one of those distractions that keeps a person from doing it. Another thing that happens is people will do it, and they'll call me and they'll say, I'm resisting it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to say I'm sorry. And then we have the conversation about responsibility. We don't know who we are because we can't remember what we did the last 10 lifetimes. So since we don't know who we are, there's a certain level of fear instilled in all of us from many generations, from 6 generations backwards. There's a great deal of fear because we don't know who we are. So we're really a little hesitant to accept responsibility because in our world we live on a warring planet where it looks like we're all victims. But in point of fact, that's not the case. We're not. It's not that we're seeing. What we're seeing is that our progression, our spiritual progression through this physical reality is like a school for us, and we have the ability to project our own universe, within our own universe, what lessons we need to learn based on what has taken place in our previous lifetimes. So sometimes, you wonder, why is someone so angry at me? Why am I experiencing only angry people? Why am I living in a neighborhood where everybody's angry and the children are cursing me out and everybody else? And this is a projection because maybe, quite possibly, 12 lifetimes ago, you killed everybody in the house. You may have had a good reason, but that's still, it comes forward with the same kind of energy that you experienced it with the first time. And that's the energy that has to be cleaned away from you. And these things,
Well,
since we don't remember them, people resist taking the responsibility for them. I hope I'm answering your question in a clear way.
yes, you are, and I think too that people, what you just shared, even if it's not lifetimes ago, I think a lot of people have. I think we understand more than we like to say out loud that we understand,
Right.
and
Right.
so that's when that aggravation or frustration comes up. We think it's towards another person, but really, I can clearly see where it's that same thing within you in this lifetime that you focus on
Right.
others to not really have to deal with what it is that you do that's exactly the same.
Right. So
So,
when you do the Ho-oponopono, you clean yourself, and then the image that's mirroring this behavior in front of you automatically changes because you have changed yourself. So then the mirror changes.
so then you in turn start attracting and finding yourself with a whole different set of friends or associates or neighbors and
Absolutely.
experiences.
And you
You know,
find that
lots of,
the frequency of the ones that you do talk to has to raise because you can't stay at the level where your thought forms were at a different frequency before. Now that they're at a higher frequency, you're going to be seeking higher level. You're going to be seeking others to have that frequency too. So your children and your animals and your husband, your household all get a little higher as you practice this, and especially if you do it as a consistent portion of your life. Just like you think all day long, the thoughts that you think repetitively all day long, when you add this to your repetitive thought pattern, it changes your life on a repetitive basis.
I noticed too that instead of certain words we would say, not that I'm not condemning anyone for cussing, but a lot of time what I've noticed is that it's becoming something that I say even in situations when I probably would have usually have said, shit. Like uh, you stop a moment and then you're like, I love you. I don't know if I'm alone. I don't know if I'm alone in that, but I'm telling you, I've noticed that it's shortened my irritation time. Like, just kind of like what Sam was saying about a pop-up on my laptop. It's 1,000 pop-ups. I cannot get through one activity without all these pop-ups. And usually I would be like, oh, cuss the laptop out. But instead, when I see it, and just go ahead and click that X button because that's really all it's about. And I loved when she told me that or gave that analogy before. It has just really stayed with me because it's so simple, but yet it's complex at the same time because you can know it all day long, but you still have to do it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Yes.
And the idea that people do have resistance to it is directly related to their ability to take responsibility for their own actions. Because as you said, it's not just the past lifetimes; it's this lifetime too. So you if you find yourself at 30 or at 60, and you have a lot of drama in your experience, then this needs to be cleaned. That's why he named the book. Dr. Hula and Hiakalea and Joe Vitale named the book Zero Limits. You have to get to zero. The way you get to zero is you clean. You clean away the layers and the layers of debris that you have accumulated in your lifetime through ignorance. You clean these away yourself, and at the end of this, it's so wonderful. You're so victorious because you can pat yourself on the back and give yourself a high five because you did it.
right.
Whatever
Right.
other work you're doing supports it. But
Right.
you did it. You're the one responsible for it, and you can take the credit for having dramatically changed the whole dynamic of your life and your family experience.
As you were just saying that, I was starting to think about and imagining the just seeing me in the motion of the other things I do along with this. I have found, and I love you, Lo, to this. There are other things that she has shared with me, as tips to do as well. That kind of fit, like you said, they fit. This is not anything that conflicts with other things. It goes right with my mantra meditating. It goes right with my dry brushing. Because dry brushing is shedding as well. It goes right with that. It goes right with the salt bathing. It goes right cleaning up, physically cleaning your environment and being more organized in your environment and in your thoughts. It goes right with all of that. It's not like you're doing an extra thing. I saw a lecture with Joe Vitale, the author of the book that LaOta just mentioned, Zero Limits, and I watched it, and the way he started it, and I don't know how many he's done, but the one in particular I watched, he had a couple of people come up on the stage, and he had them all start to fill up this whiteboard with all these different, what would you call them? All these different train of thought that frees you. People were, yoga, Reiki, and this is not to say that those things are less or don't work, but I think the point that he was making, because this whiteboard got filled up, this whiteboard filled up to he was fill it up all the way to where you're writing on top of each other. They did just that. Then when when they were done, he said, "Now I'm going to share with you something that pretty much, works just by itself. You don't need anything else, but in turn it would enhance anything else you're doing." And I think that's an issue that we have at times. We try so many things, and we have so many incomplete things that we are excited about. But for this, I feel like the excitement just upgrades and upgrades and upgrades, because you start getting blessed with experiences and opportunities and things that you didn't know how you were going to acquire or achieve them before. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? Can they relate?
I understand. Yeah.
Oh,
I understand.
I'm like, it's absolutely the truth. It is absolutely the truth. That these, a lot of people have a tendency, and I hope you'll excuse my expression, but they're kind of cosmic whores. They run from one experience to another experience to another, and they never really get the complete body of knowledge and wisdom that's embodied in the first experience, and then they move on to another one because they're really kind of thrill-seeking. Ooh, if I do this, then this happens, and then they'll say, well, it's not, I often get this even with DNA. People will write me 15 pages of all the wonderful things that happened, and 3 months later they say, well, it's not happening now. I'm like, it happened. It happened.
Yeah.
You are forever changed. It's happened, and it's still happening, but like anything, the intensity of tasting something fabulous doesn't last for months in your mouth. The memory.
You're right. Oh, that's an excellent one right there. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Just like bathing.
Yes. Yeah, so when you experience something for the first time and it's new to you, that's a different experience than the comfort of doing it 7 months later, or experiencing or being aware of it, your awareness. So what happens is, because people are kind of thrill-seeking, they go from what would really be good is to indulge yourself in something that works and keep it, and even when you add to it things that you can keep doing that, so that you can grow into the maturity of what it is. The way that I did Ho-oponopono years ago is very different than what I do, 8 years later. The experience I'm having, the understandings that open for me are very different than the understandings I had years ago. Because now this is something that continues, and it has grown in its maturity. And that's another thing that I love about this, that this is brought forward by a woman. And we very rarely hear about spiritual development and women. And I love that.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
And Morna,
wow,
is the one who brought this forward, and Dr. Hulen Hihakalea was her adept. He was her follower. He was a psychologist.
I did see a video.
He was a shaman. And he traveled all over Europe with her to the Czech states and to Poland when she was cleaning the Black Madonna. All of these things that made the wall between East and West Germany fall. It was that cleaning, because this is not only done on a personal level, this can be done for our country. This can be done for our children. This can be done for our ancestors who are already passed over. It will benefit everyone. These frequencies benefit everyone to carry. You carry the thought pattern of thank you, I love you, please forgive. There's no negative in that in any way. To carry these frequencies for 3 hours a day or for 24 hours a day can only be good.
And you know, I'm just reading something. Can I?
Yeah.
Can I just chime in and just say something? There's an affirmation from someone, and they said, "I can't understand why people are so frightened of new ideas. I'm frightened of the old ones."
Yeah, that's real.
Yes.
And I thought that was really nice. Because really, to present this to people, and I've been presenting, you know, the DNA and things like that to people, and it just seems like they're like it doesn't make sense that I can get any help with my DNA. I mean, they've already just put it right there. That doesn't make sense. Like my DNA is the DNA I was born with, and that's it. You know, something like that.
Yeah,
so when I was
I've
just
heard
reading
that.
this, when I was just reading this, it just made so much sense to me. I can't understand why people are frightened of new ideas. I'm frightened of the old ones. I thought that was so good.
I think that the realization that life is an inside job, that it's really all about you, is liberating for some of us and frightening for others of us. You know, but if once we start working and realize how quickly and easily and painlessly, how beneficent this divinity is, how wonderful of a universe we live in, that something as simple as changing our thought form can materially change the experience you're having with your teenage children. Trust me, I have teenage children. This works. It changes your experience with your husband. It changes your experience with the rude person at the post office. You know, I don't get out of the car until I make sure that I'm covered. I start talking. I turn off the car and start talking on my way in so I can get things done and don't have any disruption.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so LaOta, I have a question, another one. Is this something that is enhanced as well if it's done, you know, in twos or in a group, or does it matter, or how effective is that when doing it with someone or in a group?
Well, this is actually, you're touching on the Ho-oponopono.co website. This not only works in groups, this works for others. In fact, this is so much greater than prayer, because with prayer, you don't really know what the person's thinking, and you don't really know whether they have clean thoughts or not. And so prayer in a group, it may work for the person or it may not, because there's going to be different levels of thought patterns. With this, because the frequencies are exactly the same in those four expressions, if everyone says them, whether they understand them or they don't, the outcome will always be excellent. Because even if a person is praying for someone, they may be having a contrary thought in their mind at the same time. With this, you cannot hold the thought of love and another thought at the same time.
You are right about that. You are right. It's when the example I was giving with my husband, when he came up and he was, you know, obviously, you know, irritated, I was like, I could feel that in me wanting to be, you know, go into that, like, what's happening with you? But it was like the two could not be, I could not do that and also clean at the same time.
Right. If you could have, you would have. I know. Thank God it's not possible. So the idea that, to answer the question, is to do this in a group. If we were to join together in a group and could do it, for instance, with Morna, who is the one who taught Dr. Hulin, who brought this forward. With her, what she did is they had groups that would do this every Sunday at a certain time for the world. And it did make a difference in East and West Germany. She was there. She was there specifically. It was documented. She went there to pray to the Lady of Poland and the Black Madonna, the female figures that are important to those countries. And in this country, she was instrumental in getting the Lady of Freedom, who looks, most of us think it's Pocahontas on the Capitol building. She also got that done. That statue was interned where the people couldn't see it for 25 years until she brought it forward, because this power of women's energy all over the planet has been extinct to us. We don't even really know it exists, but it still holds the thought form of all of our wants and all of our desires, and it requires cleaning because it's lived through the history of war and separation. And like Rhonda said, it's the old thoughts we need to be worried about, not the new ones.
I think it's very timely too that you're, going into the origin of this and finding that it's come from, a woman, because at this particular time, and I know all of us on the line that have been speaking and those that are listening that haven't spoke, there is this feminine energy that is, I would say maybe 2011 maybe, or around that time, just last year, I started to feel a strong connection with other women, as well as more of a realization for with myself as a woman, and it's a lot stronger than it was before. Something has changed. Something is shifting. It's very evident, and I did not make the connection with the Ho-oponopono and that divine feminine energy. Women, I didn't make that connection. It just like beamed when you said this actually began with a woman. So
she was the one who developed it into its current form. It was an ancient Hawaiian custom, but it was a very complicated and different situation than what we're talking about. This is the form that she brought it forward in, and she worked with people all over the world, and there are still classes all over the world with the original form that she brought forward before the book Zero Limits was written. But what I understand from this is that we are coming into our own if we do what we need to do. And this is part of what we need to do. Because the way a woman deals with a situation is very different than the way a man deals with a situation.
Right.
And you gave us a perfect example.
Right. Yes.
But just look at the power that you were able to use to change the dynamic of what could have, we all have been through those situations. And I can remember when I didn't deal with that kind of a situation very well, and it went on. Sometimes we'd end up not talking to each other for weeks about something like that. However, look how you diffused it. This is the power that we have, and it's the power that anyone who uses Ho-oponopono has. But it's no coincidence, it's no accident that a woman brought this forward.
Right.
And that the ones I often find that it's men who resist. Other women resist too. I often find that I'll say, a man will call me and he'll be desperate. His children will be hungry, and I'll say, do the Ho-oponopono, 3 days, everything will be straight. And they'll be like, well, I don't want to say I'm sorry. I didn't say I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay. You live in a free choice universe. You have the choice to do what you've always done or do something different. You are free, and I'm not going to be in judgment. People can learn things the easy way or the hard way.
But sometimes it takes, like I would say for me, LaOta had mentioned this to me some time ago, and it just clicked. It clicked when, it was something needs to happen. And, for some people, sometimes things just have to take place. And I'm really working on, leaving something for myself. And a lot of times I will, think so far into like what it is that I need to do or someone else, and then, I've got all these. I got my immediate eyeballs, my family looking like, what about, us? What about? So I share with myself, no more, because I'll be able to better assist other people while, a change or a cleanse is taking place with me. It is all automatic, and it took for something big to happen for me to see that it's now or never. So everybody has a different point. But LaOta, we are getting near the time. Can you share with everyone any upcoming things you have going on, how someone can reach you, and to know more about what you've discussed today? And I purposely mentioned the term DNA activation, and I'm glad several other people on the line did too. That was on purpose, from me anyway, I'll say. And because that's something that I think goes hand in hand with making a life change. And um, I would like us to here on Love and Natural Me go further into that, as the day is by. Again, have Lal to come back and talk about that. And since we did start out with Love and Natural Me as a hair show, she will be coming back to share with us the subtle yet strong, energetic origin and power that hair actually has. It's not just us loving these curls. Um, you know, that's not what it is. It's actually deeper than that as to um, where I think a lot of women are starting to embrace it now. So um, that's to come in the month of August. So stay tuned for that. So also, will you plug where they can reach you, what you've got going on, and how to know more about what you've spoken about today?
Yes, I will. First, I'd like to share with you some websites that you can look at, and on these websites, there's an opportunity for you to subscribe or fill out the contact information and ask questions and be directly in touch with me. I'm very accessible at this time. And the first website is www.dnareplicate.com. And this website will tell you many things concerning what we've been talking about, what we've mentioned, so to say, as a background idea. Also, if you will go to www.ofthesun.org, I am a shaman, and I have a website that has shaman practices that are ancient, and for hundreds of thousands of years, they have been extremely effective in cleaning other aspects of our experience, and they work very well with all of these things are part of a system that I'm bringing forward that works very well, the DNA, the shaman work, and the Ho-oponopono, to bring you to a point where you don't experience negative and you start to heal everyone around you and everything around you, where you become the light, you become the biophotons, you become the light that is seen off-world. And so you can find out about that. You can subscribe. There is an opportunity for you to learn about DNA. Introduction to DNA is every third Sunday of the month. And after you have had some work done, there's an opportunity to join a forum called Soul Solutions that's only for people who have had work done on those two websites, where you can discuss and talk about things that are happening with you, because many people find themselves without anyone to speak to. Also, on Saturday, which will be after, I think, this broadcast, but I will be on Blog Talk Radio talking about DNA with Shamara, who has been on the line tonight on her show, and I will be on Vonda Guzman's show every third Tuesday of the month, which is Life is So Beautiful. I'll be on that show, and Vonda devotes one entire show a month to the idea of discussing DNA and the activation and the importance of it. So, and I'm looking forward to later next week recording a program again with Yvette on hair healing, which will be coming up for those who are listening when this airs. And so that's how you can get in touch with me on www.dnareplicate.com or www.ofthesun.org. You can subscribe, you can write messages, and I will get back to you if you might have questions or inquiries concerning anything you've heard tonight. Is that what I needed to do, Yvette? Is there anything else?
Oh, yes, that was wonderful, LaOta. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time, and for those that shared. I mean, thank you very, very much. You have assisted me and inspired me as well. So, for those that are listening, we are here every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and every day, Monday through Friday, there is a show to be heard here on Cheryl's World. Tonight, you're tuned into Love and Natural Me, and I'll see you all again. Thank you for listening next week, and thank you to my guest, LaOta, and those that participated. Have a wonderful
Thank
evening.
you, Yvette. Thank you.